That's funny. All right, I'll add that in the video. It's developing, thank you. All right, this just in. Granite Games has Mal O'Brien posted as well. So not only does the Atlas Games have her up, but the Granite Games has her up. And all hell is breaking loose. Ding, 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 I'm getting a bunch of messages. This is super funny. Yo! So yesterday, it appears as if the video where we were speaking of the athletes who had filled out the surveys in relation to where they could or could not go for the semifinals had some sort of an impact on those individuals. Nadia let me know that she was moved. She moved from the Atlas Games over to the Granite Games. She got an email from somebody who she hadn't spoken to in CrossFit, and they moved her over to the Granite Games. This morning, I woke up and I went and I checked out the leaderboard, see if they had moved her yet. And it appears that they have moved Nadia to the Granite Games. Happened real quick, very cool. I also noticed that there's another individual at the Granite Games that wasn't there before. An individual that was at the Atlas Games. That individual being somebody who blocked me on Instagram. You may know her as Mal O'Brien. So I remember reading a Morning Chalk-Up article somewhere saying that they didn't really tier the placings of the quarterfinals into the semifinals, but they did take the top four and put them into separate semifinals. So they took the top four and you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here, and then everyone else, they just kind of put them wherever they wanted to. But those top four, at least they placed them separately so they wouldn't be taking up spots and competing against each other. It would have been madness if all four were in the same event, because then you would figure there'd be 4 spots gone just like that. And that's not really what you're looking for. You want to separate the best from one another, and it appears that they did that at least at the top 4. So in that case, Mal O'Brien went to the Atlas Games. She was the top seeded female over there. She won the quarterfinal. She went to the Atlas Games, and she didn't reach out to me like Nadia. I don't know if she has a story. I did check her Instagram. I don't see any posts on her Instagram. Like, everyone's got a burner account, right? She can block me, but I'm still going to be able to go see whatever I want to see. And I checked her Instagram profile. She doesn't say anything about her going to the Atlas Games, but you did see that she was on there. If you go to the Atlas Games Instagram page right now, you can still see that there is a post up saying, look, who's excited to have Mal O'Brien? She's holding up a belt. It's got 471 likes right now. It's got 22 comments. One of them from Savan saying that he's even going to get vaccinated to go see Mal O'Brien at the Atlas Games. A bunch of other people talk about how excited they are. Yeah. Now, it doesn't appear as if she's going to the Atlas Games. So this is kind of a double-edged sword. I talked about Nadia. I talked about how she couldn't make it. She wasn't vaccinated. She couldn't cross the border. She couldn't get a passport in time. That's that whole video summed up in 5 seconds. I don't know if any of these things are the case with Mal O'Brien. I do know that Mal O'Brien, unlike Nadia, won the quarterfinal for North America. She was the winner in her own region. It appears as if CrossFit did some sort of a computer click button populate whichever semifinal according to some mathematical formula without taking into account any sort of feedback that they had gotten from the athletes. Maybe some of that feedback from somebody like Mal O'Brien was that they didn't want to go to Canada. If you win the quarterfinal, you might have some pull as to where you want to go. Maybe your first pick as to which freaking semifinal you want to go to. But when it appears as if CrossFit isn't even looking at the surveys to check out what people said about why they wouldn't be able to go to certain countries, it also appears as if they didn't take into account the best athletes in the sport requesting certain semifinals, even if they won the quarterfinal. That's all speculation, but it does seem to be the truth. Now, the issue here, unlike Nadia, is that, and nothing against Nadia, but I don't really think that many of you had heard her name before I brought her up on my channel. Again, nothing against her. She's awesome. She made the semifinals. That's a huge accomplishment. But Mal O'Brien might arguably be the most marketable female in North America. It's why the Atlas Games is going to go ahead and promote her on their freaking Instagram page. There's a good chance that if you go live in Montreal and you're into CrossFit, you're going to make the trip to go see Mal O'Brien compete at the Atlas Games. Who knows when the next chance you're going to be able to see her. If you're in Canada, you're going to probably make a chance to go see her over the Atlas Games. That's not even taking into account that she's probably pulling Matt Fraser along with her. So when you take into account that it's the most marketable female in North America, and then you have the 5-time champion Matt Fraser, who everyone loves, it's going to probably draw a pretty big crowd. And if you're the Atlas Games, from what I know, they don't make any money. I remember this is a big point of contention back in 2020 maybe, when they were first doing the semifinals. The semifinals weren't making very much money. I don't know where I read it, but it was in one of those Morning Chalk-Up articles where they're kind of all on their own, paying CrossFit to name themselves CrossFit, and they were hoping to be like up and up and up and up, and they were going to rise with CrossFit. It was almost like they were rolling the dice and saying, hey, if we put our name on this and we are one of these semifinals and we're playing nice with CrossFit, at some point it's going to pay off for us. Hard work pays off. For the Atlas Games in particular, they kind of kept getting the short end of the stick. Yeah, a lot of things got shut down by COVID, but I had a buddy who was at the Atlas Games. You might know him. His name's Blair Chapman. I was talking to him. They were in the briefing area. They were ready to rock. They were listening to the workout, and then all of a sudden everything was shut down. It's like, nope, you can't compete. They had done the travel, they had done everything, and it was shut down, and it was a time where things were getting shut down, so it is what it is. But Atlas Games was probably out of a bunch of money at that point. They kind of got the short end of the stick. Atlas Games was probably like, okay, cool, here we go. We're going to get back into it. We're going to just keep on doing what we've been doing. Last year, I did the Atlas Games. I did it in my garage. They didn't make a bunch of money off of people like me in our garages or gyms or local affiliates not going to compete in person where you're going to be able to pull a crowd, have vendors, promote yourself, market yourself, become this cool big thing like a Wodapalooza. Maybe not quite as big as Wodapalooza, but you know what I'm trying to say. They want to make money like a competition like Wodapalooza does. And now it appears as if CrossFit has sent this athlete, being Mal O'Brien, the most marketable, biggest name in the sport for the female side. They're going to pull along somebody like a Matt Frazier. And hopefully everybody who's in Canada is going to flock over to Montreal, way over on that side of Canada. And they're going to say, oh, we're going to have this big thing. Finally get past all of this bullshit that we've been dealing with. And then they move to Granite Games. And sure, I don't know the back end story. It's not like Nadia where she's being super transparent. I don't know what Mal O'Brien's travel restrictions are. Maybe she doesn't have any. Maybe she just didn't want to go to Canada. I don't want to go to Canada. That's funny. All right, I'll add that in the video. It's developing, thank you. All right, this just in. Granite Games has Mal O'Brien posted as well. So not only does the Atlas Games have her up, but the Granite Games has her up. And all hell is breaking loose. Ding, 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 I'm getting a bunch of messages. This is super funny. It's not funny for someone like the Atlas Games. I can't say it enough. This isn't very cool. Granite Games has been around a little bit longer. They have a bigger name. The Atlas Games doesn't have that big name. They're probably putting their necks out so that they can get a little bit of clout. They want more clout. They need to be this big competition, the biggest thing in Canada. CrossFit is over here ripping athletes out of them, throwing over to Granite Games, and all of a sudden all hell is breaking loose. I'm getting a bunch of messages. What is this going to look like for other people in the space? Mal O'Brien, she's just going to go and she's probably going to win the Granite Games. The thing that we aren't even talking about here is the fact that when you now have the 4 people displaced amongst the 4 semifinals, they're going to be shifting people left, right, up, down, wherever. But all of a sudden, the Granite Games has too many elite females. The Atlas Games, while they still have a bunch of females, you go ahead and look at the leaderboard, there's a couple who have been to the games, but they don't have the type of history at the games. If you look at the Granite Games, you got Mal O'Brien, Amanda Barnhart, Emily Rolfe, Danny Spiegel, Fisa Gaffi, and then just right there alone, you've got a bunch of athletes who all have a lot of history at the CrossFit Games. And alone, a couple of those names have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of followers of Instagram. So you should bet that they're going to be more marketable over at the Granite Games. Atlas Games has Emma Lawson, Carolyn Prevost, and Carolyn Condors, Paige Powers. So that field is not even questionably less strong than the Granite Games field. It's going to be much tougher for anyone to finish in the top 5 now over the Granite Games than it is going to be for anyone to finish in the top 5 over at the Atlas Games. Who knows what's going to happen over there? I'm not trying to talk down upon the athlete. I can do a little bit of an in-depth thing here and say, oh, look how many finishes they have at the CrossFit Games. But take my word for it, the Granite Games field is way fucking stronger than the Atlas Games field. This has always been an issue. It's not anything new that there's going to be one field stronger than the other, but it is an issue when you're just going to say, okay, go over there. Again, back in the day of regionals, I remember that it was like the South Regional was way weaker than the other ones. Everyone knew it. That is what it is. However, you weren't going to go ahead and take somebody from the North Central Regional and throw them down to the South Regional and just say, okay, here you go, have fun. That's what it looks like they're doing with the Granite Games. It's taking that 5th spot and they're completely wiping it out. They did it with Tia Toomey last year at the MAC. Here we go again with their plain favorites. It's like, oh, we have a big name in the sport, Tia Toomey, Mal O'Brien. You can go to whichever semifinal you want. This isn't very cool by CrossFit. We don't know what's going on. We know Nadia's wasn't vaccinated, no passport, couldn't compete. CrossFit, they fucked up. They didn't look at their survey apparently, right? And they sent her to the freaking Canada. She couldn't go to Canada. Is that the case with Mal O'Brien? I don't know. But with the way things look, with Tia Toomey like last year, just going wherever she wanted, I wouldn't put that out of the realm of reality either. Speculation, yeah, of course. Doesn't look good though. We currently have 2 freaking entities, the Granite Games, the Atlas Games, Mal O'Brien competing at both of them. What the hell is going on? What do you think? How is it going to go? How bad is this for the Atlas Games? I think it's really bad for the Atlas Games. I think it's really bad for CrossFit. I think CrossFit somehow managed to outdo itself and fuck up even more than ever. This will continue to develop. This is all I got for now, and Wheeler out.